Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So we're here for another one of our mass making sessions. We are up to week number 233, would you believe? So for anyone who doesn't watch my channel, we are doing reruns. We did the first 100 weeks, we did the second 100 weeks, and we're now doing the third lot. And what are we making this week? We are making, and I'm just checking my iPad to make sure I get the title right. We are making large book page pockets. Now, these are a little bit of a twist on the normal book page pockets because they have an additional pocket on them. So I'm going to show you, this is what we are making. So you've got a large pocket here, and then you've got a pocket here, and then of course when you glue it onto the page, you could glue it on 3 sides and you then have a pocket there. So you've got 1, 2, 3 and potentially 4 pockets. So really good pocket, and obviously, you know, great way to use up your book page. You could use up some scraps and things like that for this little pocket down here. So they're a really good handy pocket, and obviously provide loads and loads of extra potential journaling space by the things that you're popping into the pockets. So that is what we're making, large book page pocket for your junk journals. So I'm going to move that prototype out of the way, or the example out of the way. And if you are wanting to join in, what will you need? So you will need some scissors or a paper trimmer, depending on what you like to use. I personally like to use scissors, so I've got my scissors. You will need some glue. Again, I like to use the Anita's Tacky glue. It's a PVA based glue. That's what I like to use best with paper. You may want to have some distress ink and a blendy tool and things if you like your pieces to look a little bit aged. You are, of course, going to need your book pages. Now, I've brought along a selection of different book pages just so that I get a few different looks. So I've got these ones which are slightly larger book pages. These are the ones that I did the example pocket on. And as you can see, I've just kind of cut it down slightly so it's slightly smaller than that size. So that's those. I've got these middle size or medium size pockets. And then I've got these ones, which are obviously, much smaller pockets. They're not small by any stretch of the imagination, but they're obviously, smaller. So you've got your book page pockets. Now, per pocket, you are going to need 3 or 4 book pages. So just to kind of give you the heads up there, and you will see what I mean, why it's a 3 or a 4, because it will depend how you make your back of your your pocket. So 3 to 4 book pages per pocket. So that's the book pages. You're going to need maybe a glue spreader to spread your glue out when you glue your pockets together. Again, I just use like an old, either like credit card or, I don't know, store card, gift card, any of those kinds of things, or, a hotel type card. You may like to have a dried wet wipe to actually mop up your glue. And then aside from that, you may want to have some decorative papers to create your bottom portion, i.e. your bottom pocket. Now, you could use book page for this, so you could have an extra book page for that. Obviously, that would be on top of your 3 to 4 book pages. So it's up to you, really. I will be using decorative paper just because I quite like that look. But of course, obviously, it's up to you how you do that. Now, because obviously the pocket at the bottom is quite small, you could probably get away with using some scraps. These potentially might be too small, although they might be okay with the smaller book pages. But bring along some scraps and kind of see what you can get away with. I have also got some whole pages. Mine are digitals, and I say this every week. That's because that's what I predominantly have these days. Of course, you don't have to use digitals. You could use, scrapbook paper, anything you like. Wrapping paper, obviously you'd want to double that up to make that thicker, but anything that you like. So let's have a look and see how we make these. So I'm going to pull my book pages back in. Okay, so I'm going to make one on the thicker book page that obviously my example one was made from. So I'm going to take 4 of the book pages. Okay, so I've got my 4 book pages there, and then one of these has got an image on it, so I just want to be kind of mindful of that and make sure that if I'm using, for example, this one to fold down, I don't necessarily want the image showing. So I'm going to use these 2 as my back pockets. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these 2 which are going to be my front pockets, sorry, these 2 as my back base, sorry, not pocket, back base, and these 2 as my front pockets. Okay, So what I'm going to do to get them kind of, you know, the exact same shape / angle, I'm going to just fold them down together like that, okay? And then I'm going to just pull them apart like this. And then as you can see, I've got 2 identical shape / angled, you know, pockets. That's all there is to making those pockets. So then I'm going to glue these down. And I'm just going to glue round the edge, and then my pockets, oh, my book page, sorry, it's vintage book page, and it's a little bit on the brittle side. So I'm going to put a run of glue here by the fold, just in case my book page cracks at all. So it's still then obviously held together. So just glue that down. Can obviously use my glue spreader. And for some reason I've grabbed a tissue, so much for being really super organised with my wipe. I've now grabbed a tissue from over there. Okay, so that's my first one. My second one, going to just do exactly the same thing. Now you can use a sewing machine for these, you know, definitely, and to be honest, they probably would be quicker to make on a sewing machine. I'm going to use the glue because in these mass making sessions I like to make them as accessible as possible for as many people as possible, and I know not everybody has access to a sewing machine / you know, likes to use their sewing machine with paper, so that's why I'm using the glue. So then you want to take your pockets and you're going to glue them together. Now at this point you might want to decide roughly the height that you want these to be. So I'm going to just trim mine down kind of across here. Now it doesn't matter too much if this is not straight, because when you pop your bottom pocket on, it's going to cover this up anyway, okay? So all I'm going to do is just glue down, and I'm going to glue down on this edge, and then on this edge, and then I'm going to glue down on this edge here. And the reason that I've glued the bottom edge on this bottom pocket rather than this one is because by the time I put this on, this bottom edge is going to be longer than that, if that makes sense. Now also I just want to quickly point out, can you see where I've torn my book pages out? I've got this slight bendy curly kind of edge. I'm going to trim my pockets up, so that's why I've put my glue over by a couple of millimeters, so that when I trim it down, hopefully my pocket will stay together. Oh, sorry. What a wally. With my prototype, I did have the situation where they weren't the same length because I'd actually cut my back pocket and I didn't cut them together. This one actually, as it happens, I did cut them together, didn't I? So yes, it is the same size. So please ignore my little bit of advice there with whole, you know, gluing on the underside pocket. That's only relevant if you've cut them separately. Okay, so that is them glued together there. Now this is going to be my back page. So what I want to do is just glue this down onto, you know, an extra sheet. But what I might do is put my pieces down first and then do that. Okay, so I'm going to just glue these down. So again, just avoiding that edge by kind of a millimeter or so, going along there and along here. Oops. And then this is just going to go onto here. Okay, like that. Now I turned my book page over, so to be honest, I might regret that because I've now got a curly edge on that side. So I did that because obviously that was that one with the image on the back. So yeah, just kind of be a bit mindful of, you know, where your torn edges are, if that bothers you. Having said that, it might not bother you at all. They don't look, you know, they don't look horrible, do they, these curly edges? So then you could use your book page to form your pocket. Obviously my book page is, you know, one of them smaller than the other. But you might decide that, you know, that pocket size is big enough. That's a kind of option for you. Having said that, you could put this one on here, for example. You could fold it over, you know, up to you really. You could glue these together so you've got double thickness at the top and then by the time you pop it on, it's going to be like that. So in fact, let's do that so that we've got one book page one, just to kind of demonstrate really how they would look. So again, just going to glue that together there, glue it across there, just put a bit of glue in the middle. So everywhere really that I'm gluing, you of course could be using your sewing machine for. So, you know, if you prefer to sew them, just glue, or sorry, just stitch where I've glued. Okay, now the caveat to that would be, if you're using your sewing machine, you might not have to glue these pockets down, because with the stitching around the edge, this would actually stay folded down. So that's where I say it could work out quicker for you to use your sewing machine. Okay, I'm just going to trim this up because I hadn't made a very good job of cutting it. So like that. And then I'm going to decide whereabouts I want this. Do I want it quite high up? Do I want it, you know, low down? Now I'm going to just quickly ink my edge here, just because it's easier to get to before I obviously, you know, glue it down. So just want to make sure it kind of stands out from the actual pocket itself. Okay, so then I'm going to go in with my glue like that. Okie dokie. And then glue my pocket down. Now I'm just being governed here because I've got something saying dragon's blood, so I just want to cover that up because that doesn't look all that nice to me. Although I think this is, well, I think it's talking about wood, I'm not sure. This was a violin book, so I'm not sure what dragon's blood really refers to, but it's not what you think. Well, who knows, maybe it is what you think. I haven't read the book, but I'd be surprised. Not sure what dragon's blood would have to do with violins, but hey, I'm not a violinist, so maybe I've missed the whole point. I don't know. Okay, so that's my piece there. Now I'm going to just trim this down across here, and I've picked it up, leaving the other book page that's going to be backed on away, if you see what I mean. So then when I glue it down here, that's where I know where to glue it. In fact, I'm going to glue it here because I've just got this little torn out notch, which I will then try and avoid. So again, just obviously glue this on, oops, all around the edge, like that. Okie dokie. And a bit of extra glue up there. Okay. Pop that down onto here, like that. And again, obviously, this is where my glue spreader comes in handy. So I just then spread my glue out. Like that. Okay. So the reason that I've done that is just literally to thicken up that back section, because otherwise it was just single book page, which, you know, for me that just feels like it's a little bit of a vulnerable, you know, potential vulnerable point, because obviously, you know, that's not them very thick. So by just cutting it or sticking it onto another sort of sheet, it just kind of, you know, robusts it up, makes it a bit more durable and, you know, less fragile. So that's my book page. Now obviously you can see I've just got these two pockets. They're not really showing up greatly, so what I'll do is I just pop in a little bit of book page right beside there like that, and I can just ink up that edge then, and then this one as well. Oops. Just to make those two pockets stand out a little bit better. So hopefully you can see now they're just standing out a bit more than they were previously. So again, I've got my pocket here, my pockets here, and my pockets here. I mean, they don't look anything great, do they? But to be honest, once they're decorated up, they'll be completely transformed. And then it's up to you. You can do things like round your corners. They're all optional extras to just kind of transform your pocket further. So I'm going to make a second one to just demonstrate again. And this time I will obviously use some decorative paper, but I just want to kind of show you, you know, so we've got a couple of examples. So I will use this book page this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. So I've got my 4 sheets of book page. Okay. So again, going to just take down. Oops. Oh, it's a very thin book page, and I thought, well, that's weird. I'm sure I had 4. I did have 4, but it just felt so thin I could barely feel it. So again, just fold my 2 pages over, and then they, you know, exactly the same angles, and then I'm just going to glue those down. So this is the step that you can miss out, obviously, if you are stitching yours on the sewing machine. Okay, because it will just be clamped closed once it's stitched. But if you're not sewing it on the sewing machine, if you're using the glue like we are here today, then I would recommend just gluing it down, just so that you've got no vulnerable, you know, points that are not going to want to stick, or, you know, you're going to have to be careful how you stick it. Okay, so this one, this is obviously that smaller book page. So to be honest, I might quite like to have this more or less the whole, you know, the whole book page size. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to glue the pocket, again, just minding that curly edge that I'm going to trim off. So I'm going to glue it down that edge and down this edge. Now this is where my base one is going to be a different size to here, because obviously these are the same size page, but this is going to be moved down. So I'm going to put the run of glue here along the base edge. Okay, so I then pop this on, glue it down. Oops, like that. Oops, like that. Okay, and then just mop my glue up like that. And again, you can obviously use your glue spreader to sort of smoosh it out and make it all a bit smoother. Get rid of wrinkles that might appear otherwise. Okay, and then here, I'm going to just go along and just trim this edge off. Like that. Okie dokie. And then for this one, going to glue onto my book page, and I'm going to keep it as the full size book page, because like I say, these are smaller book pages, so you know they're going to be smaller than my journal page. So from that point of view, I'm going to just glue my back sheets together without having to trim them down at all or anything. So just pop some glue on like that. Okay, like that. Hopefully got them roughly together. Okay, spread my glue out. Okay, and then just mop this up. Okay. Looking good. And turn it back over, just because, you know, obviously I don't necessarily want it on this side because that's just plain, which might be a bit boring. So I'd prefer it probably the, you know, the book page side like that. Okay. So again, just, oops, now torn the book page. So, oh dear. Be a bit gentle if your book pages are a little bit on the flimsy side or brittle side or vintage side, or just if you're on the clumsy side like I am, yeah, just be a bit careful. Okay, so gluing down along those edges, and then just pop that onto your book page. Oops, like that. And then again, just like we did with the other one, I'm going to trim down all the curly edges. Oh dear, look what I've done. Done it again. This is obviously quite fragile book page, so yeah, I need to be more careful. Such a clumsy person. Right, so again, just trim it down. Oops. trim it down on that curly kind of edge there, like that. Okay, and then this side as well. This one actually I've just got kind of the back curly edge, if you see what I mean. Okay, not done it very straight, so I'm just gonna just trim off the bottom like that. So I mean, it's not looking very straight again, but that's okay because I'm going to be covering that up with my front pocket. So pick a paper that we're going to use. Now I'm just thinking we could probably get away with one of the smaller ones because obviously this is smaller book page. So just going to fold this in. No, that's a shame, isn't it? Oh, that is a bit of a shame. Oh well, I'll have to pop this onto some book page to thicken it up. Just because I like to make sure it's nice and, you know, nice and thick on here. So I'm just going to pop that there. Just fold that in. And to be honest, I'm just going to tear that down. So these are my pale damask papers. I'm just going to glue it onto the book page just so it's a little bit thicker. I just never really feel that comfortable if things are just single sheet, you know, paper thickness. As you can see, you know, with my clumsy crafting where I tore down the bottom of the pocket just now, you know, that's just not great for me. So if you feel more confident that you're not going to tear your paper, then hey, you might get away with just having it single thickness. I personally just, you know, I don't trust myself, and yeah, it's just gutting when you've made something and then you start, you know, using things as the pockets and, you know, end up tearing the paper. So I'd rather kind of double it up and make it more robust. So again, just trim this down like that, and then this will just glue on down the bottom there. So again, just going to quickly trim that curly edge off there. You can probably see, I mean, I've got a bit of a sort of torn little bit on the paper. I mean, actually I've snipped it off, but I was going to say, you know, that doesn't really matter. It's all going to look, you know, pretty good anyway. So I'm going to glue this here, and then because I want to cover up my wonky edge here, I'm going to put the other run of glue down the bottom of here rather than the bottom of the pocket, just for exactly the same reason as those pockets that we put on the top. Is actually your pocket can then overhang the book page and it's all fine. It's going to be glued down. There we go. So glue that together nicely like that. Okay, looking good. So that's my other pocket. So again, pocket there, pocket there, pocket there, and potential pocket there. This is where you can obviously round your corners, so you can use a corner rounder. I only seem to have my smaller one to hand at the moment. I'm not sure where my larger one's gone. So I'm just going to do it by hand because I think the small one perhaps on these particular pockets might look a little bit too small. So I've just rounded those bottom corners. Obviously you could round the top ones as well, completely up to you how you would do that. But they're super nice pockets, aren't they? Like I say, they don't look that great obviously plain, but once they're decorated up, they're really, really nice and you can do all sorts with them. So we're going to get just mass making now. We've got over the kind of tutorial element of the video. So I'm going to put these to one side, and yeah, we're just going to pull in our bits and pieces. I'm just going to sit on those and hopefully then flatten them out a little bit. So yeah, just tuck them under my leg. Right, okay, so I'm going to do them kind of assembly line style. So by that, what I mean is kind of all the stages together in, you know, in one go. So we will, you know, take our book pages, separate them out into the fours like that. And then the first, you know, my first stage will be just fold my pockets down like that. Okay. So I'm going to do that for all of the pockets that I'm going to make. then we'll glue them, and then we'll go kind of back through and do it like that. So hopefully that's kind of the most efficient way to do it, and we can just relax now and have a lovely time, have a catch up, and yeah, just have a chat and a, you know, a nice time really. So yeah, so I hope that everybody's week has started out well. For you guys who watch my channel, you'll know that I generally film these videos on a Monday, ready to go up for you guys on the Tuesday. So obviously my week's only just started. I'm just putting these out the way. I need to try and keep them kind of separately. Yeah, so my week has only just started, obviously. And right, now these are slightly more brittle, these book pages. So I just need to be a little bit careful how I'm handling these, because although those ones were very delicate, these are very brittle. Now what was quite a bonus, to just quickly say this, this was, like I say, it was the encyclopedia of the violin, and so can you see I've got this gorgeous sheet music on here as well. So of course you could also use sheet music for these. I mean, the problem is sheet music tends to be a lot bigger than book page, so of course if you were using sheet music, you would have to cut your sheet music down, or, you know, printables, or, you know, scrapbook paper or whatever. You would have to cut them down to, obviously, you know, book page size. But yeah, I just thought I would kind of point that out, because that to me, what a bonus, you know, because actually it's book page, but it looks like sheet music. So yeah, really, really cool. Yeah, so my week has only just started out. Oh my goodness. It was so raining this morning. It was such heavy rain. So I went to the gym. Well, when I woke up, first of all, it was so dark, and I just thought, what? It can't be surely time to get up already. It was just so dark. I mean, it's like, wow, you know, yeah, where did summer go? It's just come along with a bang of straight away, you know, really dark, and like I say, absolutely chucking it down with rain this morning. And to be honest, it's only probably stopped in about the last half an hour or something. So yeah, it was really, 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 really raining. And yeah, I mean, obviously I do drive to the gym, so it wasn't like I was out in the elements exactly, but I did get, you know, I did get wet just even running from my front door to the car, and then running from the car to the gym. You know, it was just awful, really horrible weather. Which is so weird, because last week, so this in contrast to last week, where we had like another burst of summer. I mean, I say another burst of summer, we didn't really get much of a summer this year anyway, so we just had like a couple of bouts of, you know, a couple of weeks here and a couple of weeks there. Well, not even a couple of weeks, actually, a few days here and then a few days there. But yeah, last week was so hot. I mean, a couple of days, I think we're like 24. So it was really, really, really gorgeous. And then now we're just straight away back to rubbish. I mean, I've got a jumper and a cardigan on today, and my jeans. So yeah, we're kind of straight away, you know, into the throes of, you know, heading for winter now. So, I mean, I guess it is autumn, isn't it? But yeah, it's just disappointing, because I don't really feel like we kind of properly had summer, if I'm truthful. But anyway, I just thought I would share that with you, because it was so rubbish this morning. The weekend was okay. It was reasonably okay. Yesterday, actually, I'm saying it was reasonably okay. Yesterday, no, not great. It was raining and not nice. But Saturday was okay. It was a little bit on the chilly side, but it was okay. Yeah, so I went for a lovely walk with a friend of mine, just kind of, you know, down the seafront locally, well, about 20 miles away from my house. So yeah, we just took Beau and we went for a walk along the seafront, and then there's a lovely cafe there, so we just popped into the cafe, had a couple of, you know, hot chocolates there, and, you know, just sat out there, because although it was chilly, when the sun was on you, you know, it actually was, you know, was okay and kind of warmed up. So yeah, it was all right. So right, I'm going to go through and glue my pockets together, and then obviously we'll do the front, you know, additional pockets. So yeah, I'm not sure what's the best way to do these, if I'm truthful. You know, assembly lining, and I'll have to kind of have a bit of a think on the fly. But anyway, Yeah, so that was nice, and Bo had a really lovely time, and you know, she just seems to have turned a corner. So she's very barky. Now apparently this is something common to sausage dogs. So yeah, because when I walk along with her, barking and barking at everything she passes, and this is like humans, this is dogs, this is, you know, anything at all, she's there barking. So if someone, you know, walks past, you know, they can say hello to me, she's still, you know, woof, 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 you know, going mad at them. I have to say, oh, sorry, you know, she is friendly, and oh, it's just embarrassing. But the amount of people that say to me, oh, she's a sausage dog, that's okay, that's what they do. So they're obviously kind of renowned for it. And yeah, which is a bit of luck, really, because otherwise it would be even more embarrassing, obviously. But she seems to have suddenly turned a corner, because on Saturday, would you believe, when we were walking, she did not bark, not one time. And to the point that at one point, a dog went past her and barked, and she ignored it. I mean, hello? What is that about? I was just like, oh my goodness, you are such a good girl. So yeah, she just kind of like turned this corner. I had no idea why, you know, why that was. Maybe she just didn't feel like barking. I don't know. I mean, I can but hope that she has actually decided, you know, to knock that whole barky behaviour on the head, because, like I say, it's slightly embarrassing. But it was just so out of character for her. So who knows? But yeah, hey, really, you know, really good. What a result. So my daughter went to her dad's for the weekend. She hadn't been there for a little while. So yeah, it was you know, quiet without her. So, and, you know, really missed her because she hadn't been there for quite a long time. So, yeah, she was missed, to be honest. But she's back today. So, yeah, after school, obviously. So, yeah, anyway, missed her. And then yesterday, so I invited my friend round again, and we had a roast dinner. So, yeah, we cooked a roast dinner and had a roast, and it was just, you know, me and my friend. So yeah, that was kind of quite nice, really. And it was nice to have a healthy meal, because I had been terrible again last week with my terrible eating. Honestly, one night I had a family bag of popcorn for my dinner. I mean, that's terrible, isn't it? Yeah, I shouldn't really share all these things on video, to be honest. It's one of those, oh my goodness, how embarrassing to admit to. But yeah, I didn't intentionally have a family bag of popcorn for my dinner. You know, I was intending on having something, you know, slightly better than that to eat. But yeah, just kind of, I thought, oh, I'll just open this bag of popcorn. In fact, it was the Friday night. So yeah, my daughter had, you know, gone to her dad's, and it was just me at home. And she had a bag of salted popcorn that I had bought her during the week, but it was still in my car. She knew she had it, but yeah, for some reason, she hadn't taken it out of the car. So I'd spotted it earlier on in the day, and I thought, oh, I might just go out to the car and grab her bag of popcorn. Not thinking I was going to obviously tuck into the entire bag, but I thought, oh, I'll just have one or two, you know, handfuls. Oh, before I knew it, I'd scoffed the whole bag. And then, to be honest, I thought, oh, best class that as my dinner, really. So, yeah, that was what I had on Friday, which is really bad. So, yeah, and I had some popcorn earlier on in the week as well, because my daughter, she's really loving popcorn at the moment. She had been eating a bag of popcorn earlier on in the week, and I'd shared half of her bag then. So, not doing great with the whole, you know, trying to be healthy and, you know, not eat a load of rubbish. But anyway, I did have a roast yesterday, so that was, you know, that was all really good. Also went to the cinema yesterday during the day, so before having the roast, with my son. So yeah, we went and watched, I've watched quite a few things actually this week. So we went and watched something called The Substance. Now, I'd never heard of this film, hadn't seen the trailer or anything. But because when we woke up yesterday, it was, you know, rubbish weather and it was raining and things. So I did some work in the morning, and then I thought, well, I'll just see what's on at the cinema, because, you know, I thought, what else are we going to do? So, yeah, when I looked, there was this film, The Substance, and it said it had Demi Moore in it. And I thought, oh, you know. So anyway, I looked on YouTube at the trailer, and it turned out it was kind of a horror type film. And then I read some of the comments, and I mean, lots of the comments said how good it was. And I thought, oh, you know, wow, perhaps we'll go and see that. So I said to my son, do you want to come and see this? You know, wow. Well, a lot of people had said it was a very disturbing film. Yeah, very disturbing. So it was about an aging actress, and, you know, how she was kind of then, you know, no longer cast in anything in Hollywood and all this. And then, and obviously that was Demi Moore. And, you know, to the point they just then fired her, and they were so callous and awful and just, you know, not nice at all. And of course, you know, she was brokenhearted. And so she was offered like a substance that would kind of regain her youth, if you know what I mean. So basically, I don't want to give the whole plot away, and it's very complicated sort of plot, but basically she kind of, she took the substance and it kind of made a second entity from her, if you see what I mean, which she then had to take it in turns. So she would be her aged self, and, you know, when I say aged, she's hardly old, is she? But yeah, her aged self, you know, by, I guess, you know, certain standards, if, you know, I don't know whether Hollywood is still like that, but yeah, so her aged self and her youthful self. But when I say her youthful self, it wasn't like it was her as her youthful self. So, you know, it was a new person that nobody would recognise or anything. And then it all, of course, goes horribly wrong. Wow. Well, I have to say, Demi Moore, she is clearly not vain at all, because my goodness, she obviously looked horrendous by the end of the film, because it all went really horribly wrong. And yeah, she then just aged really terribly, you know. I mean, she looked like a kind of zombie by the end of it. But yeah, it was quite a good film, you know, in this really weird sort of way. I don't want to say that I would recommend it, because I think maybe a lot of people would think, wow, what a terrible film. But if you kind of quite like things, you know, a little bit dark and weird, and it was filmed in this really peculiar way. Can't think who the man was in it. Oh, he's been in loads of things, and I can't think now who he was. For some reason I keep thinking Tim Allen. It wasn't Tim Allen, but yeah, anyway, had this chap in it, and like at one point he's eating, and it was like he's like squelching his food like really disgustingly. Oh no, that's done. Really disgustingly and things. And it was, weirdly enough, we just happened to go to the audio described showing. So as he's like really squelching his food, it was saying squelching, you know, kind of the audio description was saying, oh, squelching, you know, as he was eating. And I mean, it didn't need to tell you that. You could hear it squelching. So yeah, it was just filmed in this really weird sort of way. But it was quite good. And then they just ruined it for the last like half an hour of the film, where like so many times, you know, if it's a sort of horror type film, it just suddenly goes, oops, forgot, too much chatting, not enough concentrating. Need to have that pocket lower down. Yeah, like so often when they do like a horror film, it just then lost the plot, and suddenly it was a ridiculous film, you know, kind of, I mean, I would say turned into a comedy, but it, frankly, you know, it wasn't funny. It was just silly. You know, becomes like so bizarre and so ridiculous that it was like, oh gosh, this is now just silly. You know, it just got silly. So yeah, it was a shame really, because up to that point, my son and I both said it was kind of quite good, to be honest. So weird, you know, definitely, like I say, you know, not everybody's cup of tea, but it was a clever concept anyway. And, you know, kind of to some extent, I mean, it was kind of really sad, because it did show, you know, how sometimes women are, you know, made to feel like irrelevant really, you know, once you kind of getting older. So yeah, it was good, but then it was rubbish. So not saying I would recommend that, but yeah, definitely like Demi Moore, I was like, wow, she is you know, not vain at all, because she really, you know, did not look good by the end of the film. She looked awful. So, yeah. And I hadn't seen her in anything for a long time. I mean, she's so stunning, isn't she? And, yeah, I mean, I don't know how old she is, but, you know, even now, she's still stunning, isn't she? But, yeah. And I assume it was her body in it, and there was a few shots of her kind of naked while she's taking this substance, kind of, you know, they have to take it as a sort of injection. So, yeah, she's still got a very incredible body, you know. Like I say, I don't know how old she is, but yeah, I must Google it, to be honest, later and see how old she is. But anyway, so yeah, that was what we did yesterday, before the roast dinner. And then, what else did we watch? So the other day we went to the cinema and we watched, oh gosh, I feel like we've watched 3 films this week, and now I'm thinking, what were they? So we watched that film, The Critic, and I think I talked about this last week and said we were hoping to see it. So yeah, we watched the film The Critic. That was the one with Ian McKellen. So yeah, that was good. He's very watchable actor, you know. Yeah, so very watchable, but he was so mean in that film. He's thoroughly selfish, like, you know, not a very nice person really that he plays, but still, you know, horribly watchable. And I mean, he wasn't a terrible person, as in, oh, I don't know, just probably a bit narcissistic and things, but yeah, very, very selfish in that film. So anyway, that was quite a good film. I would recommend that. It was quite good. Then we also managed to go and see the Kate Winslet one, which I'm sure I talked about last week as well. What was that called? Oh, called Lee. So that was the story of Lee Miller, who was like an ex-model, Vogue model, who then became like a photographer during the war, and well, she didn't really become a photographer. I don't know whether she would have been, you know, recognised necessarily as a photographer, but she did work taking photographs. Oh, it was a really powerful film. And again, you know, Kate Winslet, wow, they obviously did this awful, horrendous makeover on her, and she also, not vain at all, because by the end of that film she also looked terrible. So yeah, it was a good film, but very, 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 you know, kind of horrifying, because of course it was about the war, and the, you know, the atrocities in the war and things. So yeah, that was kind of quite a disturbing watch, really. Well, disturbing, but in a different way to the disturbing of the film yesterday, which was of course complete, you know, nonsense. But yeah, it was a good film, so I would definitely recommend that. And that's called Lee. Yeah, so yeah, that was good. Yeah, so that was the 3 films. So wow, I can't believe I've been to the cinema this week 3 times. I mean, honestly, some weeks, you know, I just don't go at all, but if there's things on, you know, we do try and go. So yeah, that was that one. And then what have I watched on TV? I've watched a couple of things on TV as well that I thought, oh, must mention those. So yes, last night started watching something called Lupin. This is on Netflix. I'd not heard of it before or come across it before. Watched one episode, which was brilliant. Very, very good. Watched the second episode, also very good. Sadly, I fell asleep halfway through the episode. So yes, it's obviously very good, but I could not tell you possibly, you know, anything about it because I fell asleep, you know, halfway through the second episode. But yeah, it's very good. So it's about a very cunning, clever thief. You know, he's very likable thief. He's quite a handsome thief. And yeah, it's about him. And the first one is, it's quite exciting. It was done in the style of oh, I don't know really what I would call it, but yeah, anyway, it was quite exciting, the first one, because it was during the no, it wasn't during anything, sorry, it was filmed in the Louvre. So in the Louvre in France, and it was an auction taking place for a necklace owned by Marie Antoinette. I don't know whether this is a necklace that really does truly exist, or whether it was completely, you know, made up for the film. I don't know. But it was beautifully filmed, because of course it was filmed in the Louvre, and you know, albeit just really kind of in one room in the Louvre, but you saw like bits of Paris, and the whole thing, well, the whole thing for those 2 or 1.5 episodes I've seen was filmed in Paris, so I assume the whole series will be. Oh, do you know, I've just looked at the time, and it's now 46 minutes. Oh, I've obviously got carried away with my chatting. I've obviously glued more of these than I had expected. And now, of course, I've barely achieved any. So let me just quickly trim this off, and I will have to leave these ones for finishing off after the video. I've done abysmally. But just so that there's time to obviously decorate one, which we like to do, obviously, in these mass making sessions. So I will just quickly pick some paper to quickly put as a pocket on these. So rather than use book page, I'm going to use you know, decorative paper of some sort. So you just pull in a few. So, oh gosh, I've got loads here, haven't I? Yep, loads and loads. Oh, this is quite nice. Yeah, perhaps I will just use this one. Oh, that's really lovely, isn't it? Yeah, so anyway, it was really good. So I'm actually quite looking forward to watching it again tonight. Hopefully get time to watch it tonight. And it's just nice to watch something that was filmed somewhere, you know, somewhere different. So i.e., you know, filmed in Paris. And yeah, I mean, Paris is beautiful, you know, and so watching something filmed there was very fun. So yeah, let me know below. Have you watched Lupin? Have you heard of it? I'd never heard of it. And yeah, it was just, you know, flicking through the channels really, that then was like, oh, what's this? You know, shall we watch this? I was still with my friend, and yeah, so we decided to watch that, and yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, the guy playing the part, I don't know who he was. He looked familiar. I feel I have seen him in something else. That being said, I was going to say, is he French? No, he can't be French, because he was speaking English. And although the mouthing was out of sync, unfortunately, it wasn't dubbed. You know, it was just that the you know, voices didn't align with the timing, if you see what I mean. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was dubbed exactly. I don't know what that's about. They must have like the audio on like a different... I mean, I think of it as being like the old-fashioned days, like with the roll of film. Clearly, it's probably not done like that anymore. But yeah, they must have like the audio on something else, and then the, you know, the video on something else. And so then sometimes it just doesn't link up, does it? So that must have been what was going on, which was a bit of a shame. But anyway, it wasn't too irritating or anything, you know. Sometimes that's very annoying, but yeah, anyway, it was really good. So looking forward to watching that. I shall watch a bit more of that tonight, hopefully, if there's time. So just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who purchased the autumn kit. I really hope that you love working with it. You know, I still working on my autumn journal. Oh my goodness, it's taking me ages, because I've done like a restock in my shop since then and things. So of course I kind of stopped working on it to make things to put in my shop, and now it's, you know, like lagging behind. So I need to kind of crack on with that. But I just want to show you, this was the cover that I made yesterday. So I just wanted to quickly show you that, and I hope that you really love it. It was quite different for me. But I love this mix of colours. I mean, who would have, you know, thought that these colours would go with the peach and the blue and the green and this pink and the black? you know, kind of by rights, those colours should look like awful, and who knows, maybe you guys think that they do, but I think they just look really lovely, don't they? So I might add some more things to the cover. I know it's quite busy, but who knows? I might add some more bits to it. But yeah, I did the cover yesterday and just really, really love it. So yeah, just thought I would quickly show you that. But like I said, I do need to crack on with that, really. So yeah. So yes, just trying to think if there's anything else really. So nope, nothing else exciting going on, that's for sure. There we go. I mean, oh, where has this year gone? I'm kind of thinking, oh my goodness, it's like Halloween soon. So I don't know whether I'm going to get time to do a Halloween kit this year. I have kind of semi done one, if you see what I mean. I've started working on one anyway. But yeah, it's kind of, again, ground to a halt a little bit because I've been doing some other things. So I need to pick that back up and resurrect it. So yeah, my sister wasn't with me last week, Natalie, so she was doing some extra hours at her, her proper job. So yeah, she wasn't with me last week. So the orders that I had in my shop, I've posted out half of them, because obviously I had to do the orders, the posting. So I've posted out half of them. I've still got half left to do. So yeah, I apologise if you are still waiting for your order to be posted out. I mean, generally she obviously comes on a Thursday and she will pack the orders and then post them on a Friday or Saturday, unless of course she can't get to the post office. Sometimes there's problems with the post office being closed and things like that, but generally that's what she kind of tries to do. But yeah, for some reason I just only got time to do half of them so far, so I will try my best to obviously get on with the, the remainder, but I have got obviously a few things that I'm still doing as well. So, yeah, thank you so much to everyone, for your patience and things. And I really do apologise that it's obviously, taking longer than normal. Okay. Right, but yes, thank you so much to everybody who ordered the autumn kit, and thank you to anybody who's placed an order generally, for any kit or for anything physical in my shop. I really hope that you love everything that you bought. Obviously there's no, nicer feeling than, hoping or, thinking that people have loved what they've bought, really, because, I know that obviously when I started my physical shop especially, I really wanted it to just be like a really different place to go and look around and possibly sell things that, you couldn't ordinarily get maybe in some other, online shops, and kind of stock things that, that I thought I would have loved to have bought maybe when I first started out, or even now, that sometimes you think, oh, if only I could buy that ready-made, or oh, if only I could buy one of those, I'm hoping it's one of those types of shops, really. So yeah, thank you so much. Right, I'm going to keep these ones obviously and do these in slow time. So I've kind of formed the basis of them, but yeah, obviously I've got a lot more to do. So the ones that I have done, let's pick one to decorate. So let's just see, which one are we going to decorate? We did the other ones as well, didn't we, with the green? Oh, I can't even see the one that I did, or the two. Oh, I was sat on them, wasn't I? Look, I've been sat on them for so long now, I'd even forgotten that I was sat on them. Oh gosh, now look what I've done with it. Squashed it, sat on it and squashed it. Oh dear, that's not very good, is it? Right, there we go. Everything's rescuable and salvageable in junk journals, isn't it? Okay, right, which one shall we decorate? Let's just have a look. So I brought along some bits and bobs to do the decorating with. So let's just pull in some of these little bits and bobs. I've just, got some bits here. Didn't really plan this brilliantly because not necessarily got things now that are going to go with the papers that I've used here. Because obviously time has gotten away from me, I've now not decorated as many as I'd hoped. So Right, I've got quite a lot from my music frames. I mean, these are obviously things, you know, they tending to be newer things because they're things that I've been cutting out that I've only just kind of recently put in my shop. So, although I do have lots of daffodils, yeah, I'm not great at using yellow. I know I've said this, you know, a few times. And I did do a yellow journal recently, didn't I? That actually I did really enjoy making. But yeah, generally I'm not great with using yellow. But yeah, I've got a few daffodils. Well, perhaps we'll do that because they look quite pretty, don't they? So I've obviously kiss cut these out. So the kiss cutting, for anyone who doesn't know, it tends to be where you leave the white space around the edge of the shape itself. So I struggle quite often with the whole kiss cutting, but I'm getting a bit better at doing it and you know, leaving it like that. Because you often buy things that have been kiss cut and I, you know, I always really like them, and for some reason when I try and kiss cut I'm always like, oh, I'm not sure about that. But yeah, I'm trying to do it a bit more often recently, and yeah, I'm actually coming to the point where I'm sort of happy with it and feeling, you know, not kind of quite so harshly judging it. Sometimes I look at it and I think, oh my goodness, that is terrible, and yet I would happily pay and buy it like it. So it's weird. Right, oh my goodness, let's have those like that. I think now, just having a look to see what else I've got here. So we could have maybe just a bit of text maybe in the background. Again, just, you know, using things that happen to be here. So let's just take this. Oh, I haven't inked up the pocket itself. So yeah, let's just ink up the pocket. And again, I should really just ink up the pockets, shouldn't I? The pocket parts, which I again should have done before gluing down, but just totally did not even think about it. So that's done, and then these ones here. Oops. Oh, and I want to just say a massive thank you to everybody who is still taking the time to chat and comment and things like that to the videos. Honestly, it's making such a difference, you know, hopefully with getting my videos out there, and it's so lovely and fun chatting with you all. So again, I kind of try and do it, you know, a few times a day, and that way, you know, like hopefully I will kind of like chat with different people different times, if you see what I mean. So if I don't necessarily get to your comments today, you know, maybe I will get to your comment next time, or, you know, the time after that or something like that. So yeah, it's been really, really, really nice. So thank you so much. I mean, honestly, it's so lovely chatting with you guys, and I know I've talked about this before. Such a huge chatterer, in case you hadn't noticed. Yeah, I love chatting. So it's been really, really, really fun. Right, okay, so we've got that. Now, just see what else I've got here. Oh, I've also got a yellow rose. Oh, and look, I've got a few yellow things here. Look, how weird. Again, this was not intentional, but I just happened to have these yellow bits and bobs. Got this one. This is from my Florentine kit, I think. I mean, she looks quite lovely, doesn't she, to be honest? So should we just have her somewhere, just because I think, oh, she's quite in keeping, obviously, with the yellow of the daffodils. A bit weird in there, isn't it? But do I take this side off? Sometimes it's hard to know, isn't it? And I, you know, once it's gone, it's gone. So then it's like, oh, I shouldn't have torn that off. And then it's too late. So always a bit tricky deciding. No, I quite like that. Okay, right, let's glue this on. Okay. There we go. And then this little daffodil is going to go there. This one's going to be here, so it's going to be overhanging the pocket, but I think that's fine, and, you know, almost adds in a bit of interest, really. So quite cute, I think. got this lace which is left over from the, you know, the pocket that I made obviously as the, you know, the sample pocket. So we could have some of this somewhere. Now, I'm thinking, do we want any lace coming out behind her? Again, just looking around, and I've got some scraps and things laying around on my desk. I mean, obviously my desk's very, very messy. But the good thing about that is, yay, you've always got scraps to use, you know. So, yeah, messy's definitely a bonus in my book, but I'm not saying it's for everybody. I'm not saying everybody likes messy, but I think most of us junk journalers do, don't we? Yeah, I mean, anyone else, they'd be like, wow, what a bomb site. I mean, how is that person working in that space? Where is that person even? They would not even be able to spot me if they came in behind my huge pile that's on my desk. But yeah, I think as junk journalers, we're like, wow, we love it. Right, for this, I'm going to just put this card here. Oops, nestled up against where that pocket is. Take the daffodil, and that gives me an idea of exactly where my glue needs to go up to. Okay, so when I put this down again on the pocket, I put it in here, and then I just pop the card to where it was, if you see what I mean. And touch wood, that's a little trick of how to make sure that you don't glue onto the underneath piece of paper. So if I just pop that there, yep, it's glue free. No glue came up on there. So that's just a kind of bit of a trick or a bit of a tip there to you know, ensure that you put the glue in the right place. And I'm going to do similar now with this one. So obviously this one being a lot bigger, but I'm going to just put this down here, pick the daffodil up like that. Now this one I'm going to glue with hot glue because it's going over the lace. So I just want to ensure that it's glued down without having to, you know, keep pressing it. And obviously then I can have this like a bit raised, which will just give a bit of interest compared to like the lady who will be hopefully having the appearance of being sort of, you know, on a layer behind. So pop that down. So again, pop the card like that. Like that. Okay, press that down. And again, if I just put the card back in, press the flower. No glue on there at all. So it's just, yeah, quite a handy little, you know, way to just make sure that you're putting it in the, you know, in the right place rather than sort of glue everywhere and then it's stuck down onto the layer underneath. I mean, not that I don't not that I don't have that happen, because I do have that happen, but yeah, if I can avoid it by, you know, doing that little glue trick, then it's always quite handy to do. Just got this little daffodil here. Oh, wasn't it handy that I had all these yellow flowers? Honestly, I mean, this was not my intention to do this really yellow, but yeah, doesn't it look pretty? So these are just my flowers from my botanicals. So yeah, they just look really good against that pale damask, the green, don't they? And her from the Florentine kit. There we go. Just see whether I want to have that there. So do we like the lace up there, or would we prefer it running across, say, this pocket? So let's just check. Oh, I don't know. Again, wishing I was live and I could hear what you think. So yeah, share in the chat below whether I make the right or the wrong decision in a minute, because when I glue it down, yeah, I'm bound to make the wrong decision. I think, strangely enough, actually, I think diagonal. So yeah, let me know, did I make the right or the wrong decision? I won't be offended, I promise. There we go. So I just glue this on like that. Yeah, anyway, like I say, I have started a Halloween kit. I don't know whether I will get time to get it out, but if I don't, I didn't get time last year to use my kit from last year, which was, of course, the the, oh gosh, I can't remember what it was called, the Ghostly Gatto, or the, oh, I can't remember now what it was called. Anyway, it's in my Etsy shop, and yeah, I maybe will use that. I have already printed some bits from that kit, so it was this kind of theme. So yeah, to be honest, I mean, I might prefer to just use some of these bits because I didn't get around to using this last year. So yeah, maybe I will do that instead if I don't get time to, you know, to finish off the kit that I have actually started. So yeah, I will keep you posted, obviously. Right. Let's put this up here. Now, this is going to be much trickier, obviously. Oh, it might be okay, actually. I'm going to put this like this and this here. So again, just want to glue it on to this, oops, this bottom pocket. But obviously it's going to hang off the page. So some of the glue will be, you know, going to nowhere, I suppose, but that's okay. So yeah, pop that there. Oh no, it's not overhanging the pocket, actually. It's okay. Okay. So like that. Again, just tuck that in. Yep. Okay, so we've got a few kind of what I would call slightly vulnerable bits, because obviously you just have to be a bit careful when putting things in the pocket. You've got your pocket there, you've got a pocket here, so you just need to be a bit careful that you mind out for these flowers, and then you've got a pocket here. So yeah, I quite like it. It looks quite pretty, doesn't it? And then I wonder if we need a flower. No, not a flower, a butterfly. Let's just see. Or a label. I'm probably really overdoing this now, but yeah, just got this butterfly. I mean, it's a bit pink. Let's just see. Just thought, oh, it's got the green, but it has also got pink, so I might, yeah, I might think this is terrible, but let's just have a look. Okay. Well, I don't think it's rained at all since I've been videoing, so yeah, hopefully the weather's gonna, I'm not saying cheer up, because I mean, I don't think the forecast is great for this whole week, but maybe it will at least just, you know, calm down a bit from the horrendous rain and things of this morning. No, I don't think that looks quite right, although it's quite pretty down there, actually. It's probably a bit big, if I'm truthful. I probably could have done with having some smaller butterflies printed off, and that's just from my pale butterflies. But yeah, I don't think I've got any others printed off, unfortunately. So yeah, just check that I haven't got any here, just in my little selection of things that I've got here. No, oh, that's such a shame. Anyway, yes, that will have to do. So yeah, very pretty, isn't it? And oops, yeah, very pretty, I think. So how many did we do? Bearing in mind that I actually didn't finish most of them, but obviously I've now got them that I can do now, so in slower time. So obviously I have my prototype there, you know, that I'd done pre-video. So I mean, they look pretty different, don't they? You know, for the same pocket, that looks pretty different. So 1, 2, I shouldn't really count my prototype, but I thought I'd best improve my statistics. So 1, 2, 3, 4 completely finished, which isn't great, I've got to be honest, but I think because I got a bit carried away and did a lot here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left to do off camera. So yeah, I only completed 4, which is pretty rubbish, but I have got 7 to do off camera. So yeah, anyway, I really hope that you like them. Leave your thoughts in the chat below. Which one do you like the best? Do you like this one, or do you like the prototype one? Yeah, weirdly enough, I actually quite like the yellow one now. Let me know what you think. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic few days, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks then. Bye.